Hi, it's Miss Williams. And for this week, we're going to be reading out of a text together. It's called You Be the Jury. I'm here with Bixby. Come on, Bix, come say hi. He is excited to read this book, this text here. So after we read this, it's a little bit of a mystery. We are going to decide who the person is guilty. So in a court, when a case goes to court, we have two sides. We have the plaintiff, and then we have the defendant. And there's jury, there's a judge, and there's a jury. And the jury is the one that makes the decision if the defendant is guilty or innocent. So today we're going to act like we are the members of a jury. So let's look at, I'm going to show you my desktop, and we're going to, you can follow along here with your slideshow as well. So this text is called You Be the Jury. And how this works, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court is now in session. My name is Judge Judy Denenberg. You guys, students, are the jury, and the trials are set to begin. You have a serious responsibility. Will the innocent be sent to jail and the guilty go free? Let's hope not. Your job is to make sure that justice is served. Read the case carefully, study the evidence presented, and then you're going to decide, innocent or guilty. Both sides of the case will be presented to you. The person who has the complaint is called the plaintiff. Say plaintiff. He or she has brought the case to court. The person being accused is called the defendant. Say defendant. He is pleading his innocence, he or she is pleading their innocence and presents a much different version of what happened. In each case, 3 pieces of evidence will be presented as exhibits A, B, and C. Examine the exhibits very carefully. A clue to the solution will be found there. It will directly point to the innocent or guilty of the accused. Each side will try to convince you that his version is actually what happened, but you must make the final decision because you are the jury. Okay, so the name of the case that we're going to be looking at is called the case of the squashed scooter. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if the driver of a car accidentally damages another vehicle that is improperly parked, the driver is not responsible for any damage. While Archie Leaf, the plaintiff, was shopping at Cherry Hill Mall, his motor scooter was run over by a car driven by Butch Brando, the defendant. Mr. Lee charges, he says, that Mr. Brando purposely ran over the scooter to get even with him. Butch Brando says he is not responsible for the accident and will not pay for the damages. Archie Leaf has given the following testimony. Archie Leaf, this is what he's saying happened. It was Saturday afternoon, July 24th. I rode my motor school over to Cherry Hill Mall and parked in an empty parking space. I stopped in at the card shop for a birthday card for my girlfriend. Then I went into Rush Records. My favorite group, Indian Summer, had a new tape out and I wanted to see if the store had it. I remember passing my motor scooter on the way to Rush Records. It was parked upright. Leaf was in the record store for about 5 minutes when he heard a large crunch and ran outside. To his horror, he saw his scooter lying crushed under the wheels of Butch Brando's car. But several shoppers gathered around the accident. But There were no eyewitnesses. Exhibit A is a map of Cherry Hill Mall with the path Archie Leaf took from the card store to the record shop. I'll show you what Exhibit A looks like. Right here. Exhibit A is a map of Cherry Hill Mall with the path Archie Leaf took from the card store to the record shop. The card store to the record shop. Exhibit B, right here, is a photograph of the accident scene. You will note the scooter's tangled wreckage under the car. Oh, so sad, poor Scooter. Archie Leaf continued with his testimony. I'm right here if you want to follow along with me. My scooter was properly parked. I'm sure of that. But more important, this was no accident. Oh, this is getting good. Butch Brando was out to get me. He's been mad at me for the past 2 weeks. We both have summer jobs working at the Burger Palace. Butch has been coming back from lunch later and later every day, and I finally had to tell the boss. There's too much work for me to handle all by myself. The day after I spoke with the boss, Butch came up to me in the parking lot. You won't get away with this, he said. I'll get even no matter what. Just wait and see. You'll be shaking like a leaf before I'm through with you. I'm sure Butch Brando ran over my scooter on purpose. Mr. Leaf seeks payment for the damages of $280. So that's what Leaf said. Let's see what Butch said. Butch Brando has presented a very different version of what happened. I will now read his testimony. From the question from his attorney, and then Mr. Brando's answer. Question: where were you on the afternoon of Saturday, July 24th? I was driving around in my car. I love my car. There's no way I would ever do anything that might put a dent in it. When you drove into the mall, what did you see? The parking lot was crowded with cars. There were a few motorcycles and scooters parked, but I didn't see Archie's scooter anywhere, if that's what you mean. I finally found a narrow parking space between a van and another car. The van was hogging part of the space. Did you see a motor scooter in that space? I certainly did not, at least not from my view behind the wheel. The front of my car sticks out pretty far. Then what happened? I drove slowly into the space, and all of a sudden, I heard something crunch under the wheels of my car. I immediately put on the brakes. How long have you known Archie Leaf? Archie and I are old friends. We used to be in Mrs. Kautowski's class back in grade school. He's kind of a nervous little guy, if you know what I mean, so I like to tease him. But he knows I'm only kidding. I'd never do anything to hurt him. Mr. Brando further stated that when he drove his car into the parking space, he saw 2 young boys running away from the scene. He suggests that if Scooter was not carelessly parked flat on the ground by Leaf himself, that the 2 boys may have knocked it down. Witnesses have stated that there were vandals at the mall at that time, spraying shaving cream across the windows of several cars. Brando offers as proof Exhibit C, which is a police complaint by a shopper whose window was sprayed by vandals around the time of the accident. Let's read it. Exhibit C, crime classification, vandalism. Police Department report. Name of the complaint, Miss Sandra Helfano. Address 844 Wingate Terrace, 11:17 a.m. Complaint was shopping inside Green's hardware store. Claims that 2 young boys were creating a disturbance in the parking lot of the Cherry Hill Mall. She saw them spraying shaving cream across the windows of cars. Greg Baldwin, officer on duty. Bush Brando says that the scooter was lying flat on the parking space ground. Since it was parked improperly, he was unable to see it. Mr. Brando requests the charges against him be dismissed because the accident was due to Leaf's own carelessness. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have just heard the case of the squashed scooter. You must decide the merit of Mr. Leaf's claim. Be sure to examine the evidence in exhibits A, B, and C. Did Butch Brando knowingly drive his car over Archie Leaf's motor scooter, or was it an accident? Ooh. Okay, you're going to make the decision. Think about it. Use the slideshow that's connected to this. Look carefully at the exhibits. Reread if you need to, and then answer the question in the Google form. Good luck. I'll tell you what the answer is tomorrow.